we started the game without the level of intensity we needed, and as a result, shot 20% in the first half, and got down early, and basically backpedaled and played catch-up the entire game. You know, we've got to make a decision. I think we've got to make a decision on what's our identity, who are we going to be, and it has to start pretty soon. We're going to have to make that decision, and it has to start. Our efforts have to start and pick up on the defensive end of the court.
Questions?
Coach, this being your third loss in a row, do you know or can you explain, is there anything going on in particular, any type of spiral from the Stanford game?
I don't think the Stanford game has anything to do with it. I think, you know, anytime a team faces adversity, you really have to make sure that your leaders, you know, lead and get the team on the right page. I think, you know, as a coach, we try and we do different things, but at the end of the day, we don't go out on the court. I think when we face adversity, we've been, you know, we've gone to individual play as opposed to relying on each other and leaning on each other, and we've got to get back to that team basketball.
Coach, you decided to trim down your rotation a little bit today. A couple of players that normally play didn't. What was the thought behind that?
Well, I needed players that were intense and ready to get in and make an immediate impact, and especially when, you know, we had the early injuries in conference, we relied on Brianna Barrett, we relied on Courtney J. Coe and Desiree Bradley, and they brought that defensive intensity and offensive intensity, and so I decided, you know, I thought that would be the best combination to bring us back in this game. And you know what? We did come back. We did come back, but we continued to make small mistakes in crucial moments of the game, and shoot ourselves in the foot. So, you know, no one's position, whether it's a starter or coming off the bench, is safe. Right now, we need to get back to team basketball. We need to get back to executing.
As you're working your way back, playing good defense, coming back into the game, what's the level of frustration when you're missing those outside shots and not able to unclog the paint a little bit in that second half?
You want to answer that?
Super clogged in there.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when we're not hitting shots, that's when teams are definitely going to drop off the shooters or non-shooters and clog up the paint. And I think that's when, especially, we rely on jumpers too much, and especially when we're not hitting those, that's when we need to take the ball to the basket, get layups, get free throws, and we didn't do that really until the end of the game.
And I just think it's essential. And one important part of being a teammate, a good teammate, is taking on your responsibility. If it's my responsibility to hit a shot, instead of just throwing the ball up or instead of just throwing shots up, I'm actually focused on making those shots. So I can help my team. I can be a good teammate. You know, it's just going to be important for us to be able to not be one-dimensional. And that means if you're just shooting and the defense makes an adjustment, we've got to make an adjustment. So if they're coming out on our three-point shot, we've got to drive by them. We've got to draw, and not just when we penetrate and we draw the defense, then we also have to make the adjustment to kick to shooters. That's the easiest time, that's the best time, that's when shooters are in their rhythm, instead of forcing the ball up. So one part of, we preach, you know, go inside out. One part of that is passing it into Cassie and shrinking that defense. But the other part of that is penetrating, drawing the defense, and then kicking out to your shooters. And we've got to get that balance back.
Cassie, how devastating was, after you guys have fought back, get it down a 2-point game, and Davis hits that pretty deep three out on the wing there?
I mean, we'd been missing defensive assignments all game, so it wasn't really a surprise. It was a letdown, but, I mean, we shouldn't have even been in that position in the first place. I think we started off the game in the second half really slow, and they just jumped on us, and we never really got back. We never really fought back hard enough.
Any more questions?
You keep mentioning on the bench that, you know, I keep saying it over and over and over again to your teammates. What's kind of the message that they're not necessarily getting that you want them to understand?
Well, there's several messages. I talked defensively, I talked about getting in the passing lane and not just letting them pass the ball, whip it around the horn, and make our rotation more difficult. Offensively, I talked about having balance between going inside and out, either with the pass or the penetration. And we settled for early jumpers. Those didn't go down. Then we got discouraged, and we just started forcing it. So, there's a balance to attacking any offense, and whether they're in zone or man. And we've got to find that balance again.